Hey guys, and welcome to episode 1 of A Quick Brew.
A quick brew.
Cheers, James.
Chin chin.
In this podcast, we will quite literally sit down, have a quick brew, and chat.
Yeah,
We will talk all things that's topical and on our mind. Could be related to work, could be a little bit of hearsay, but hopefully you'll find enjoyment and you'll tune in for episode 2.
definitely.
But
Definitely.
that might be an ask.
Let's see how this one goes. Was it most podcasts don't make it past episode 7?
We're not going to let that happen. That's not going to
gonna
happen. Not on my
Not gonna
watch.
happen.
Not on your
No.
watch. Absolutely. So to kick off, we got the brew on the go. For me, it's, and I'm sure you'll approve, a Yorkshire Gold.
I can't say what mine is.
Mate, you've got to say what yours is.
No,
You can't.
I'll be
You,
abandoned by all the Odensians and my fellow countymen. I'm not sure I can actually
you'll be
say what
driven
mine
out.
is. You are correct in drinking your Yorkshire Gold. Mine is a Twinings metabolism tea, which I'm currently being on a health kick. In my defence,
Yep.
on a bit of a health kick at the minute.
I like
So
it.
therefore, I'm not sure if it actually works, metabolism tea, but I'm giving it a whirl. But should rightly be drinking Yorkshire Gold premium tea. Yes,
I like my tea with milk.
I love my tea with milk. However, on this occasion, I'm not sure that the ginseng and the lemon and the ginger would agree with it.
Fact. Absolutely. Yeah. Good luck to you. And good luck to increasing your metabolism via your quick brew.
Yeah.
So, what's on your mind? What should we kick off with?
When we were talking earlier about AI and how that's been introduced more and more into the workplace, about sort of like the psychological contract. I mean, where should we start?
Oh, I tell you what, actually, then, talking about AI and bots and the rise of the robots, I had the most bizarre experience recently. And I say bizarre because I was cold called by a bot.
I've had this as well. And one thing that's always frustrated me, when you scroll through Instagram, you're scrolling through socials, you're looking through things, and you get those adverts that I've increased my sales pipeline by 6 billion%. And that's without even picking up a phone. The robot's done it all for me. I can't, maybe I'm just old fashioned in this, but I can't see that working. I've always been a people person, always wanted to speak to a human being. That's the way that I've always done sales. I've had a few of these AI calls before where it's, "Hi, James. Am I speaking to James?" And it's either the technology isn't there yet for it to be fully applied and fully rolled out,
Yeah.
or I'm just old fashioned. I just hang up at that point.
I mean, I'm a big believer that people buy from people. And I
Yeah.
think that if I'm doing a deal, if I'm doing business with anyone, I would like to meet them. I like to shake someone's hand. I like to see them, eye to eye, face to face, over a quick brew. And I think there's nothing better than face-to-face business in that context. I get that if you're selling a SaaS platform and it's a toggle switch, you subscribe for a month or subscribe for a year and get a discount. That's great. Maybe you don't need people in that sale if you're buying a product.
Yeah, well, especially within selling a service as well.
Yeah, yeah.
When you're selling a service, I couldn't imagine ever adopting that for Wellity and bringing in a sales team of AI because I, ju- I just don't know how it would work. I can't see it work. I mean, how far does it go? Does it actually get to the stage where they're closing a deal? What stage does it get to? So when you spoke to the AI bot on the call, how far did you get?
So I didn't say I had time for the call, particularly. So it was, "Hi, Dave. Are you free for a quick chat about X, Y, and Z?" And I was like, "No, I'm afraid I don't have any time at the moment." And then there was a pause, and it was like, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Maybe we can schedule a call for another date and time." And at that point, it was very much, yeah, okay, so this isn't a human, or if it is a human, they probably shouldn't be on the phone speaking to prospects. And it fell apart at that point. If that was slicker, that process, then I think I could have gone further down the road. And again, maybe that's it.
I think we set each other a challenge that we go through with the process if we get another one of those phone calls
Fair
so we
play.
can reconvene on the next quick brew and
Report
actually,
back.
yeah, report back. Let's see how far it'll go.
But if I do buy a holiday to the Bahamas, are you going to pay for that then? Because
I'm
I,
yeah.
I'm committed to the process only so far.
Hopefully I get a call about a Twix. I'll happily buy one of
Yeah, absolutely. Or some Yorkshire Gold.
Yeah, some Yorkshire Gold tea. If it's going through the process and buying a pot of Yorkshire Gold, or a box of Yorkshire Gold, I'll see how long it takes to get there. If it is for something a little bit more serious and a little bit more spenny, then potentially
Take it
I'll
to the edge, but don't
I'll
take it
take it.
too
Yeah,
far.
yeah. I wonder if they'd actually get frustrated. You know, like we've had salespeople before, and
Yep,
I'm sure we've both experienced this, where somebody thinks they're getting right to the sale, and then it falls apart at the last minute, and you can
yep,
sense that frustration in the
yeah,
voice.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, even when and like I've said to teams before, Look, we're not gonna win every one. Don't worry, I don't wanna hear that tension in your voice again because that might have ruined any opportunity that we have going forward." I wonder if that would be adopted by AI.
Does a bot get desperate? Are they thinking of their quota? Are they thinking, "Oh my god, it's the last day of the month and I'm gonna either hit or miss my target"?
I wonder if they do.
Yeah.
I wonder if they set targets.
How do you target a bot? You've got to try harder. You
Put a
programmed
pipeline
me.
together. Yeah,
Dummy, surely this is on you. At this
yeah,
point, this
it's
is on
completely
you.
on you. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
we're gonna have to review your
yeah,
contract,
yeah,
the figures that you're bringing in and the KPIs that we've initially set. And or can you imagine having that conversation with the person that's promised like 1,000 leads a month?
yeah, yeah.
'Cause that's what always frustrates me about, those adverts. I mean, if they showed me the actual facts and figures, I'd probably consider, "Do you know what? I might have a look at that," but it just using so I increased my pipeline by 600%. You know, I had a salesman that was booking 10, meetings a week. I took him up to 10 meetings a day.
Mm, mm, mm.
No, you
Yeah,
didn't. No, you didn't.
yeah, yeah.
No, you said and so I wonder if you could then go back to that person that sold you this bit of software and say, "Well, you promised me 1,000 meetings a month, mate. This isn't delivering it."
Yeah, absolutely. Technology, mate, what I want to kick off on. And talking of that, so, can you hold a bot accountable? And, we're going to have a chat, disciplinary, whatnot. Probations. And I'm not and I'm not talking about bots now. Let's flip it to humans. Let's flip it to humans because, as obviously and for the audience, I'm a recruitment professional, and I also work within HR. Obviously, probation periods are something that are ever present in
Mhm.
onboarding, and obviously for the early part of anyone's new job
Yeah.
within a company. I've been speaking recently to people about probations and uh, how they can succeed in those early parts of their job, what you have to do to pass a probation beyond just turning up. Because, I've had a sense recently that people are starting to look less at themselves, and rather more, what can you do for me to get me through my probation? Does that make sense?
Yeah. So, basically, employees coming in and expecting everything from the word go and essentially for you to
Yeah,
do their job for them. I mean, yeah,
in a way of speaking, yeah, do the job for them, and obviously that's harsh, and it's probably not entirely fair, but there is probably a greater expectation. This is just an observation, and that's what this quick brew is all about. It's
yeah, 100%.
observations for us. I think as an observation now, people probably rely upon probably via a lower level of accountability. They rely upon businesses to hold their hand through that probation period and get to the end. And whether it's that they're seeing it as a team effort, or an expectation that's what businesses should do. I've certainly heard more now than ever people asking, well, what can you do for me? How can you help me get through? I don't know if that's on your radar at all, James.
Yeah, and I think it comes in from the interview process as well. You know, there's a lot of companies that we speak to that the candidates are almost switching it and interviewing them about, why they feel they should be part of the company, what benefits and such that they receive, et cetera, et cetera. Um, and I think when it comes to employment like this, but I've seen a number of employers as well that And the amount of jobs that I've been in, Dave, in all honesty, where I've been brought in, 0 training,
Yep.
chucked in the deep end, sink or swim. Um, we can't do that anymore. You know, there's the
And that was
resilience of
sales. That was
that was
sales, wasn't it?
yeah, it was 100% was sales, and it's, find your own feet, point you into the right directions for resources. Sometimes you didn't even get that. So there was a lot of, learning that you had to do, and you had really had to take the initiative and hit the ground running from a personal perspective and put that work ethic in. It's a very different culture and such that we live in now. I work within the world's leading workplace training consultancy, and we're a firm believer in training. So when you're bringing in somebody to do a managerial position, or if somebody gets promoted into a managerial position, they're going to fail unless you give them the training to be able to manage
Mhm.
and lead teams because they've got no
That's
knowledge of
fair.
how to do it in some instances. So they need to be able to do it. But yeah, you do see that that candidates are often interviewing companies, and one bit of advice that when I speak to companies about this, and they say, how can we get around the fact of yes, we're happy to provide all of these benefits and such for you,
Yeah.
but you're going to have to work hard as well. It frustrates me when somebody comes into a position and asks for all this work life balance, that asks for either hybrid or remote working, that earn your stripes.
100%. Yeah.
Prove yourself. Prove you're worth those benefits. You wouldn't go to your parents as an example and say, "I'm off out for a night out tonight, mum. I'm 12 now. I'm got." You'd have to earn the right and show that you and earn that respect and earn their trust that you could go around to your friend's house and such. I know that's a strange example, but I think it's right. There's
I
so many
get it.
people that go in and expect it from the beginning, but you've got to earn the right to that. And you've also got to, from a business, the strongest way that you can help somebody within their probation is give them that month solid training,
Yeah.
is give them homework and expect them to do homework because you're going to see there the ones that are prepared to go above and beyond and the ones that aren't. Give them the ability to learn and learn all about the company, learn about the role, learn about the product or service, learn about how they're going to either be going out and selling or how they're going to be operating within their role. And there should be at least a month of that, in my opinion, before, if it's in sales, any phones picked up, if it's in operations, before any tasks and such are done. Um, if they've not taken that learning in and shadowed the right people, because don't forget, this could be on the manager as well. This isn't all about the employee. That there needs to be that fine balance where you're all complementing each other. But if you've given them all of the tools, the manager's shadowed them, it showed them everything that he can to be able to pass the probation within that role, and they're still not doing it, for me, it's on them.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And actually, you've expanded it in probably a better way than I had. I was thinking just about probations more generically and a need for support to get through probations. And I go back a few years now, and obviously probations it was all on you, wasn't it? You pass or fail by what you bring to the party and how you perform within that period. And actually, even within sales, you don't have to be wildly successful within your probation period, but you have to show the attributes of someone that's going to be successful shortly thereafter. So often it was quite transactional sales probations.
Oh, yeah, it was, "How much have you brought in?" "He's been here an hour. What's he sold?"
Exactly, you're in or you're out. However, I can look past that, providing I see that people have applied themselves, and providing I see that the commitment to progression and success is being laid down. And look, I'm bad at switching off at the end of work. I'm terrible at shutting the door and it's over, because for me it goes on, and I think that often comes from being a business owner for many years, and it does become quite intense. But even when I was employed for many years before owning businesses, for me, I didn't switch off. I was always thinking about it. I always had a mind on pipeline. I always had a mind on outreach. I always had a mind on engagement. Because look, we all make hay while the sun is shining in sales. Of course we do. And if we have some businesses that are working with us, trust us, we have a good relationship with, amazing. But I always felt that was finite. It's cyclical. Companies won't tend to relentlessly spend money. So you should always be developing your pipeline, expanding your networks, meeting people, old school as it might sound, but go out there, have that coffee, have the handshake. And yeah, I think that even within probation, as long as you're doing those things, then I think you're moving in the right direction and you should be successful. But it gets back to, I think, what we were saying right at the beginning of this section, which is it's your job to succeed within your probation. And of course, support is brilliant, but that's a bonus and it shouldn't be relied upon for someone else to get you through. It's testing your suitability for a company.
100%, and but there has to be that support from both sides, and this is when we get down to the psychological contract. You know, when you go into a role
Yep.
and you've got, yeah, I'm going to pay you X salary.
Hmm.
I need you to hit these KPIs, et cetera, no matter which role that you're in.
Yeah.
The psychological contract, which isn't often written down, is, you know, the employee from the employee's perspective, I'm going to expect these benefits. I'm going to expect a work life balance. I'm going to expect us to go on the team away days. I'm going to expect this, et cetera, et cetera. And from a manager's point of view and the company side of the business case side of you, it's going to be, well, we're going to expect you to have to work at till 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock at times. There's going to be times where it is going to be stressful, but there's a difference between healthy stress and bad stress.
Absolutely.
There is a time where there is gonna be pressure, but without pressure, you're not gonna become resilient. Um, and it's about making sure that that balance is correct.
Yeah.
If that balance is 50-50, you're in a winning place, but you
Yeah.
often see that it goes too much the other way, where you do get employees coming in, "I expect this, and this, and this. No, I'm starting at 9, I'm finishing at 5. There's no other exceptions to the rule. It's, well, we're in a really busy period at the minute. I will look after you when when the quiet periods happen." But you find that, companies are basically just giving everything, receiving nothing back.
Yeah.
However, it happens the other way as well. You know, that I've spoke to many people in the case where it's they've literally given their life. They've given the blood, sweat, and tears, like in old school recruitment days. And when I used to work in recruitment, and you exactly know how tough the recruitment industry can be,
Survival of the fittest.
and then not being rewarded in which way the company promised in the initial interview.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So you do have to find that balance.
But I think it's interesting because those demands that you're referencing there, I think probably more now than ever, you see people bring in demands in earlier in the process. So whereas you would, earn your stripes and then walk around like the cock of the north, and maybe start making demands, these days, sometimes those demands are happening before people are even had an opportunity.
It's and for me, that's where it's wrong.
Yeah,
You know,
agreed.
it's I mean, yes, we are in this stage now where there is an equilibrium of teams where there is a hierarchy, but everybody's sort of like treated the same. And if that works brilliantly, fantastic. You know, I'll say to my teams, "Look, just don't call me boss. You know, we're colleagues, we work together." Um,
You prefer sir,
but
don't you?
I prefer sir, yes, or lord. I just expect them to speak to me as just another fellow
Yeah,
employee.
yeah,
They know that I will have to chastise them at times when things go wrong, and we've got that respect there where I don't really even need to chastise them. I'll say, "Look, what's happened here?" And, we'll talk through it. They'll understand that they've made a mistake, but you've got to get to that level, and you've got to earn that respect.
yeah.
Um, and even though there isn't a hierarchy and companies are wanting this more fluid, where it's everybody's on the same level, everybody's treated with the same respect, brilliant. However, that can go really wrong at times as well. You know, when people do expect that you're on the same level as you, and you're like, "Well, sorry, sorry, I've been here for I've been in."
I tell you what then, James, that and I don't know if we call it cliffhanger because I don't think we're quite at that stage yet, but that as a concept, I think is what we should probably kick off with and discuss in episode 2,
Yeah.
hierarchy and the changing landscape of business. I started work when managers had physical doors, which could be slammed in your face, and
I
we
remember
don't
those days.
we don't see that so much anymore. However, there is an obvious change. We've been there and we've kind of lived through that. So perhaps that's what we kick off with episode 2 about hierarchy and the changing shape of business, open structure, open plan, and what even is hierarchy and lines of reports now in business. So I guess for our listeners, we should probably explain, and we maybe didn't do the best job in explaining this. We want to try and keep these episodes to 15 minutes in length. We're having a quick brew.
Quick brew, and mine's gone by the end of
Yeah,
the
there you go. And for us, I think it's just an opportunity to cover some topics, offer some opinions, and do that generally within 15 minutes. So let's cut it there for episode 1. Great chatting. And let's come back next week, which is actually going to be in 5 minutes, and discuss hierarchy.
I
How's
like
that sound? All
it.
right. Spot
Nice.
on, James. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Cheers,
Cheers.
guys. Cheers.